That little picture, that little save picture looked like that Gabriel was puking.
You'll see what that's all about later. And welcome back to Gabriel Knight, by the way. Way to ruin the intro, man.
Talk, Mr. Baza.
At least you know I'm here.
You left that copy of Le Serpent Rouge at the museum for me, didn't you?
Yes.
And the little notes at the center of the circle and the arms of the hexagram.
Guilty as
Yes, we have identified Emilio. He is the Riddler.
Gabriel and I, why didn't you be open about it?
Remember, you were making that
very
joke.
careful.
Yeah,
that
I knew something was off when I saw he was
certain
wearing
people do not know
green.
that I am here.
You're part of the secret brotherhood, aren't you? You and Mesme.
You are correct about Mesme. He is with the Brotherhood, but I am not. I haven't been for some time.
And Montreux, he's one of the others, the ones who steal the blood?
Yes. They call themselves adepts of the Holy Blood, but they are vampires, pure and simple.
I don't understand. Why doesn't the Brotherhood just stop the vampires?
If you are to understand what we're up against...
Alright, and here we come to the long explanation.
Listen.
And I had a hell of a time trying to video capture this, by the way, so I hope you appreciate
The
it.
secret brotherhood are the weavers of the bloodline. It is a process intricately linked to the stars. The birth of the Divine One, the one the Brotherhood calls the Kenosh Kenaya, can only happen during certain planetary alignments with the constellation Osiris. Just over 2,000 years ago was the last such configuration. The Brotherhood was expecting something profound. They tried.
So this is the part of where the Egyptian part comes in. So the
branches of the bloodline.
secret brotherhood is from
David,
Egypt.
and it was to this branch that the signs pointed. So the Brotherhood used their influence and a bit of magic to convince the current heir, Joseph, to marry his betrothed before the date prescribed by Jewish tradition. Mary conceived. The signs for the birth were auspicious, a conjunction of two planets, Jupiter and Mercury. This created a star, a certain sign of
A boar and a
success.
devil.
But the Jewish king, Herod, heard of the birth.
I tried, by the way, after that last part to find out what the hell was that zodiac sign we couldn't decipher, and I could not find out for the death of me what the hell it is.
Of the infinite.
So Jesus was the Kenosh Kenaya?
Oh yes, he was what we had awaited. The open portal between man and the infinite. The one who could see the fabric of the universe and alter it at will.
Wow.
But he was also a Jew. Jesus insisted on studying the Torah, learning his heritage. As he read the tales, he became convinced that he was the Jewish Messiah. From the Brotherhood's point of view, it was a limited ambition. And yet, who were we to tell the Divine One what he was or was not?
What happened?
He returned to Jerusalem. A few of the Brotherhood went with him to watch over him. What we didn't realize, perhaps because we were not Jews, was that Jesus intended to fulfill the prophecies. All of them.
But gets kind of an interesting twist on the Jesus story.
What about the vampires? Where do they come in?
I will try to explain. You see, the Brotherhood collected blood samples for study and testing before they selected brides. There were certain magical rites performed. There had always been rumors that some of these priests had dared imbibe the blood to steal power for themselves. Of course, such things were taboo, and when these rumors surfaced among the initiates, they were harshly scolded. But when Jesus was being reared in Egypt, there was a young initiate who envied his strange abilities. He began to whisper to his friends that to truly serve the Kenosh Kenaya, the priesthood ought also to be immortal, just like the Kenosh Kenaya himself.
Jesus was immortal?
In a sense, he could reweave the fabric of his body at will, just as he could those of others. He could have healed his own wounds, but he chose to perform the sacrifice the prophecies demanded. It wouldn't have been much of a sacrifice had he rescinded.
So what happened with the young initiate?
His name was Sine, and one of the boys he persuaded was Ali.
I love how the
son
screen
of the
blackens for a
Adepts.
second and make it look like there's a commercial break.
Ali wasn't a bad boy.
Well, I think it's because
But he
these
loved
are all
Jesus
separate
and
video
liked the idea
files,
of living with him
and they were
forever.
really, really big back in
Fortunately, he approached
1998
his
when this
father
game was
about
being
one
made, so
night.
they had to
The
split this
headmaster
long
heard
section of the
heresy
story into these
exploded.
little bits.
Sine and his followers were expelled. Only Ali remained, having repented his ignorance. But Sine and his followers didn't give up. Sine grew bitter. He decided they would steal the blood. He kept his eyes on the conclave, but could never get close. When Jesus left for Jerusalem, they managed to keep it secret from Sine. He did not arrive in Israel until it was too late.
So Sine's group, the Adepts, are still after the blood.
Even worse, they found it. Jesus had heirs,
Ooh.
2 sons. That was the one thing he did agree to do for the Brotherhood's sake. His sons were only human. They'd missed the window of Osiris, but they survived to have descendants.
Now the window is open again.
Yes,
Is the baby, Charlie, the Kanosh Kanaya?
we do not know. It depends on how well the vine has been woven. It depends on many things. Sadly, it may not matter. Where the Brotherhood has woven for 2,000 years, the Adepts have tasted. The bloodline grew too broad for the Brotherhood to protect each descendant every minute. And as the vampires succeeded in stealing here and there, they grew in power and in corruption. They will resort to anything for the blood, blackmail, murder, even black magic.
They've been mixing the blood as you have, but in their own bodies.
Exactly. And they've been doing it for so many generations that they've changed, physically. It is a result of the blood, but even more, the result of corruption. You see, the power they have is stolen.
So this is, I actually kind of like this idea for the vampires, that they're not like corpses being brought back to life, but actually that they have been stealing literally blood from like Jesus' descendants, and they've gained like supernatural powers because of it.
And the baby's blood may be enough to tip them over the threshold.
Talk about the blood of Christ, am I right?
He might be.
So what will happen?
Oh, this is important.
Oh, does that make it?
King of the world, Rex Mundi incarnate.
God.
Oh no, never mind. Okay, what were you saying?
Gabriel. Thank heaven.
About the vampires stealing blood from Jesus' descendants. Doesn't it sort of make it ironic that the main vampire dude, assumingly main vampire dude, owns a vineyard?
Well,
When that's like Catholic.
It's all like I said. Like I said, the villains do a whole lot of different things to kind of indicate themselves. Or, yeah, expose themselves.
Yeah,
I didn't mean that, but yeah, you know how Montreux, when we were talking about it, he got so wrapped up in alchemy and the Philosopher's Stone and everything. He pretty much gave the game away right there. So yeah, they're the villains in Gabriel Knight games. They're not the smartest people.
No, my friend. Medical mysteries. This is why Mesme must go with you. I would go, but I
really love this. This is like the
I'd like to go.
This is like the big meeting scene before the dramatic finale where they outline their
I
plan.
may need some of your computer expertise.
But
3. 3 is the number that will best protect the group. Myself, Gabriel, and I believe Mr. Mosley is a trained police officer?
Hell yeah, I'll go. I got a gun in my room. But, there aren't really any vampires down there. Are there?
A few. If I know Montreux, he will admit only his most trusted allies tonight. For such a prize as the baby, he might be challenged. His kind are not known for their loyalty.
So this is interesting. They imply that there actually are other vampires besides Montreux's
To
group.
safer keeping.
Wait a minute. This is about the kid. I'm not putting my butt on the line so you guys can get
Does that mean there'll be other groups of werewolves?
I assure you.
No,
it
no.
may be the first
No,
priority
not
for us
nothing
all.
like that.
Just don't get
That the
too
fact that
far
there's
ahead of
it's
me,
just that there
bucko.
are like
Now let's see that map.
that there are like different factions of vampires.
Where is this thing? We are very close.
This looks spooky.
But they're going into the cave which Grace found.
She said it was.
Out of all the times to go into a moist hole, has to be this time.
Whoa.
It's not that moist.
Be careful.
Oh, so they left Grace and Emilio behind, but you will notice that Gabriel has a headset, and he's talking to Grace over radio. So Grace saw that on the map. They saw that Temple of Solomon. It wasn't just for shits and giggles. There actually is a temple underneath Red Le Chateau.
Was that really necessary?
Stop whining.
Uh-oh, a chess field.
Wait. Everything here could be a trap.
What?
I'm smelling Harry Potter.
No, just beware.
Okay, this next
Bosun
part,
and I will follow.
Sounds good to
and
me.
a good chunk of this video is gonna occupy this chessboard puzzle.
We're in this big room. The floor reminds me of the floor in the church. Black and white tiles. Mean anything to you?
Yes, it's a chessboard.
Any more tidbits on the chessboard thing?
How big is it?
I'm about the size of a playing piece in relation to it.
Then maybe you should act like one.
You've got to have more hermetical wisdom than that.
Okay. I'm searching. The Templars brought the game back from the Crusades and changed the pieces to match Western culture. Maybe you should think like a knight. A knight Templar.
Okay, so
Gabriel Knight?
I don't look as out
Yeah.
of place as he does, do I? Why do I get the feeling he knows a hell of a lot more about this than I do?
okay, and those you've played chess, right?
Yes, not very well, but I
Okay,
did
but
play
you know
it.
that those crosses are where a knight would start on the board. So the idea here is, you notice there that the floor disappeared from under where he was. So you cannot stand in any one spot more than once, and you're supposed to. And when I stepped on that sword, when Gabriel stepped on that sword, you notice the light goes out. So obviously you're supposed to go around the board, not step on any of the skulls, and you're supposed to turn off all those lights, which doesn't sound very hard, but then you see at the top of their screen, there's like one sword on a black tile and one sword on a white tile against a white door and a black door. Those are like doors supposed to be there. You're supposed to end
Of
the
course.
puzzle. You're supposed to end the puzzle in a way that Gabriel finally lands on a white space at the very end. The white space in front of the black door. So you can imagine my frustration when I finally figured this puzzle out, finally figured out what the hell I was supposed to do. And then the first time I finally get all the swords, because if you jump around for too long, you'll run out of tiles and then you die anyway. And I wasn't on the correct door when that happened, and I died. So yes, this is really frustrating. You can make this a little faster, and I did do that when I was recording because I'm gonna spoiler alert. I failed on this first try. So yes. Even though it's not that difficult of a puzzle, I still cannot remember the exact sequence of jumps that you're supposed to do. It's generally speaking, you're kind of supposed to go around the board so that you have enough open spaces. Because eventually what's going to happen is that the only free spaces are going to be the skull ones. And that's bad because you step on the skulls, it's incorrect. And there was also one other hiccup I had when I played this for the first time. Because... well, as I've stated many, many times before, I'm Finnish, of course. And guess what? I did not know what a knight was as a chess piece. So the first
It's
time...
the horse piece, isn't it?
Yes, and that's the thing. In Finnish, we call that piece a horse. It's hevonen. We call it a horse. But it's called a knight, and I did not know it was a knight. I assumed what they were talking about were pawns. So, the thing is, you're supposed to move like a knight. If you move So, and in case if there are people here who don't know how chess works, the way you move as a knight, if you think about like two columns, if you think about 2 rows of 3 spaces, you have to jump to the opposite corner of what you represents. Or if you think of it like a Tetris block, it's like the L block, and you're supposed to jump to from one end to the other. And it took me forever to figure that out, and then it took me forever to figure out the sequence. And then when first time I finally got these swords, then I was on the wrong block at the end and I died. And this death is pretty anticlimactic, but the good thing about this is that, unlike those previous Gabriel Knights, well, no, they did let you retry in the second game as well, I think. So they have a retry button, so you don't have to save all the time. But after I die in this part, because I did die, I think it cuts. Oh no! Yeah, there I died. No, I did do another round of this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I have to get across that floor and over to one of those doors somehow.
Yeah, and you'll notice there's different shapes on the doors as well, so that all indicates, of course, part of the Les Arpents Rouge. So I think in the previous episode you said, is there going to be like a life-sized, wizard's chess board like there is in Harry Potter? The answer is yes, Kaiser, there is. Yeah. I mean, this isn't such a difficult, like, eventually I kind of figure out the way to do it is, like, you don't want to go, like, immediately for the next, well, you do want to go immediately for the next sword that's available, but you have to also plot a route that if you miss a sword, then you have to kind of do a loop-de-loop using the knight steps, and then get that on the back end, because really the swords that are in the top right you want to get last, because that's the easiest way to make sure that you are in a position that lets you jump to the final door. And the way you can speed this up, by the way, you can skip the jump animation, which I did do when I failed the 2 times, and then I decided, oh fuck, I'll just cut it to when I finally do complete this, because I have done this several times. Like I said, this is a game I play habitually, but I can never remember. At one point I've actually managed to solve this puzzle in a way that I didn't start from one of the 2 knight squares, which are the squares with the crosses on them. But it is a bit more difficult. You have to be a little janky and tricky about it.
So you have to get all the swords?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, you can notice that now I'm really thinking hard about it, because I'm not moving. And I don't think, but I have a vague memory that if you wait for too long, the space underneath you is going to disappear, but I don't know, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. Don't quote me on that, is basically what I'm getting at. Oh yeah, like you see here I'm doing the loop-de-loop. I'm jumping here, then I jump to the black square, and then I get the sword in the white square. But I'm trying to remember how I fucked it up this time. I think I just like took out too many squares, and then I couldn't get to the sword. That's what happened. Yeah, so we're gonna get a little text cutaway acknowledging just how I messed this up.
You're actually doing pretty well.
I'm doing pretty well, but you notice that there are in total only 3 squares from which... No, there's 4 squares you can get to the final sword. One of them is that second to last black sword. One of them is the square underneath the white skull, the last white skull. And the other one is the black square under the second to last white sword, and then the other one is the next to it, the black square. So the black square's next to the last white sword, and the white squares... No, not the white squares on the other side, but you get the idea. So there's 4 possible positions from which you can end this. And that's actually a smart way to go about this. And I should have probably done it when I was doing this. Is you work your way backwards, that you would know that that's where you're supposed to end. Which is kind of bullshit. Is also, I think nothing in the game indicates that that's where you're supposed to go. And I think here I have the realization that I fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get that white one, but you'll still have one white one left.
Yeah, and there's no more squares. There's no more squares for me to jump on after I get the sword. I mean, I can get to the corner, but then both squares that I can get to from there will kill me. And this is officially where I realized it. And you can actually reset this. If you're right next to the bottom border, you can still just jump off from the chessboard and reset it. So you don't have to die in order to reset it. You just have to make it off the board alive.
So that scream.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna get the cutaway in a second. Yeah, there we go.
I'm surprised he didn't do the.
I was considering it, but it would have been weird to put the Benny Hill music over us talking. And now it's time for this was the square room, so now for the circle room.
So much for safety.
This looks. Guillotines? Why do they have to be guillotines?
A pendulum, how swell. Okay, now I'm about to show one of the more gruesome deaths in the game.
The Knights Templar were persecuted. They were sadists.
This is kind of on the borders of believability. Okay, so I'm gonna kill Gabriel intentionally here. So this sign is where that pendulum connects with that side of the wall. And this was another part I was stuck on for a very long time. This is gruesome.
Oh!
Yes, and if you stand on the square immediately before that symbol, you also get sliced, but it's different. You get sliced from the back, actually. So they programmed different variations on this death scene, which is kind of cool. So, this is also kind of bullshit. What you have to do here is that when you get to the pendulum, you're supposed to jump on the pendulum. But in order to do that, you have to wait for an icon to show up, which doesn't show up anywhere else in the game. So this is all fucking trial and error, this part here. Which is why I guess they put the retry there. So that's where you want to stand. You want to stand 2 squares behind the symbol, and there, you see the hand icon.
That was quite a heck of a jump for the Gabriel Knight.
Yes, and you have
I
to
just
jump
picture
on
grabbing
that
on one of
pillar,
these going.
and this is also where you can die. You can miss the pillar and fall to the bottom and die.
I don't know why, but I'm picturing Gabriel when he goes woo-wee!
Now his legs are stuck, and now the pendulum stopped. That's ominous.
Gracie, can you give me a rundown on the meaning of the circle?
It represents eternity, fertility, and perfection.
They do look a bit like, those snacks. Those, like, cheese snacks.
Ask her what to do.
Oh, this...
Yeah. It does look like you're handling cheese.
But why should we both be scared shitless?
It just said that I could ask her what to do about a giant blade that's about to slice me like a hunk of salami, but why should we both be scared shitless? That's one of my favorite hunk of salami. Okay, and now I'm intentionally fucking up the puzzle just to show you the death. And this is also very gruesome. This is your hint that you've done something wrong, so at least they warn you. And Gracie told us the meaning of the circle, so there's 3 items that we're supposed to put here. The circle represents eternity, fertility, and perfection. But I'm just gonna put these random thingamabobs on here.
That looks like a French fry.
Yep. And now I'm just intentionally putting in the wrong things.
These puzzles are scary enough to make Indiana Jones even quiver.
Yep.
Oh,
yep, that's pretty gruesome.
Fatality.
Yeah.
Gracie, can you give me a rundown on the meaning of the circle?
I did the... Okay, so the ones you're supposed to put on there are the apple, the egg, and the infinity sign, obviously, because infinity was one of the three things it represents. I'm not sure which one is supposed to be perfection, the apple or the egg. I think they're both like fertility, actually, so...
Yeah, I think egg means fertility, because testicles shaped like eggs.
Yeah.
Works for me.
I wish... it'd be fun if they put in like a dick move there. He's just about to hop on the platform and that pendulum just falls on him. Like you have to hop off the platform in time.
Just walking. There's something I've been wondering. I read about the vampires looking for the wandering Jew. He really exists, doesn't he? And
Yeah, there was in Montrose study that book that mentioned the immortals, and one of them was the Wandering
But
Jew.
it's not the way the legends claim, is it? Jesus cursing someone to go on.
No.
The vampires didn't get the blood of Jesus.
And after this cutscene, it's gonna be the end of the episode again.
Yes. Ali, the headmaster's son, was among those who accompanied Jesus back to Jerusalem. For 3 years he watched Jesus teach. It was, well, amazing. But in the end, neither he nor his father could stop Jesus from his course. The day of the crucifixion, Ali's father was so ill with grief that he had to be carried from Golgotha. Only Ali was left to keep vigil. Ali could not believe it was ending. All the promise of the Kanosh Kanaya, all the centuries of planning were being destroyed. Jesus was allowing it to be destroyed. Something in him rebelled. He remembered Sine's words, and in his grief and rage, he thought he might be able to save the blood in himself. He did not mean to become the Kanosh Kanaya. You must understand that. He simply could not watch that hope spill into the ground. So he drank it.
Why hast thou forsaken me?
Your fingertips are worn smooth, but I don't get it. If you've got the power of the Kanosh Kanaya, why didn't you stop the vampires a long time ago?
I promised my father I would not use the power. Never. Not for anything. It is not mine to use. It was the only way I could live with what I had done.
Never? Not for anything?
Yep, so Emilio is the Wandering Jew.
But that must be...
What a twist.
Yep.
Right.
So that's why we couldn't get his fingerprints anywhere.
There is work to be done. Do you hear anything?
And that's the end of the episode. Last words? Yes. We'll conclude next time. See you then.